Welcome to Real Talk for Real Life, where we're realizing everyone is always learning and living your full experience. I'm your host, Coach C, and this is season 4, episode 3. Don't Dead That Deal. Today's episode is for every person who's ever walked away from something that might have changed their life. The title says it all. Don't dead the deal. Now, before the grammar police show up, yes, I know dead isn't the proper word. But where I'm from, everybody knows exactly what it means. You killed it. You shut it down. You gave up on it. You buried it before it ever had a chance to breathe. You deaded the deal. Can I tell you something? Many of us give up just before our get back. Let me say that again. Many of us quit just before the breakthrough, just before the opportunity, just before the connection, just before the promotion, just before the healing, just before the lesson finally makes sense. Here's what happens. We get excited. We start the business. We begin the fitness journey. We launch the podcast. We enroll in school. We start the relationship. We finally decide we're going to become a different version of ourselves. Then something gets hard. The views don't come. The weight doesn't move. The sales don't happen. The phone doesn't ring. The opportunity gets delayed. Life starts lifing. And suddenly we convince ourselves this must not be for me. No, it may simply mean it's requiring more of you than motivation. Can I tell you what I think? You quit too soon. You did. Maybe you didn't have the right support. Maybe you didn't have the right strategy. Maybe you didn't have the right mentor. Maybe you didn't have enough stamina. Maybe you ran out of patience. Maybe you got tired of hearing no. Maybe you just got frustrated because you couldn't figure out as quickly as you expected. So you sucked your teeth, rolled your eyes, packed up your dream, and aborted the mission. Not because it couldn't happen, because it wasn't happening on your timeline. Then we create beautiful excuses to justify a painful decision. We didn't have enough money. It wasn't the right season. Nobody supported me. I'm too old. I'm too young. The market is saturated. They already do it better. Can I challenge you? Sometimes those aren't explanations. They're escape routes. Here's what I've learned. Delayed doesn't mean denied. Let me say that again. Delayed does not mean denied. A seed spends time underground before anyone celebrates the harvest. No one walks outside after planting a seed and digs it up every 3 days asking, why isn't it growing? Because growth is happening where your eyes can't see it. The same is true for your purpose. Sometimes God is growing your character while you're waiting on your calling. Sometimes he's strengthening your roots before he expands your reach. That's why you need 3 things. Discipline, because discipline keeps showing up after the excitement leaves. Determination, because determination keeps fighting after disappointment arrives. Desire, because desire reminds you why you started before obstacles convince you to stop. Motivation is wonderful, but motivation has an expiration date. Discipline is what clocks in after motivation clocks out. Let me ask you something. If the deadline disappeared, would you still do the work? If nobody ever clapped, would you still build it? If success took 5 more years, would you still believe God called you to it? Because if the answer is no, maybe you weren't chasing purpose. Maybe you were chasing quick results. Purpose doesn't quit because progress is slow. Purpose adapts. Purpose learns. Purpose keeps swinging. Listen, don't confuse a difficult season with a defeated assignment. Don't bury the dream because it demanded another version of you. Don't dead the deal because today didn't look like tomorrow. Dig deeper, learn more, adjust, rest if you need to, pivot if necessary, ask for help, seek wise counsel, pray harder, but don't quit simply because it's taking longer than you expected. Because the breakthrough you're praying for may be waiting for one more faithful step beyond the place you want it to stop. Remember this, you don't lose because the process took longer. You lose when you decide the promise isn't worth pursuing anymore. That's your real talk for today. Keep learning, keep living, and whatever you do, don't dead the deal. Here's your fearless homework. This week, I want you to identify one deal you deaded. Maybe it was a business, a dream, a degree, your health, writing the book, starting the podcast, repairing a relationship, going back to church, believing in yourself. Now answer these questions honestly. Did I quit because it was impossible or because it became uncomfortable? Was I lacking discipline, determination, or desire? Which one disappeared first? Did I confuse delayed results with denied purpose? What excuse have I been repeating that sounds reasonable but has really become my permission slip to quit? What's one small action I can take in the next 48 hours to breathe life back into something I buried too soon? Then close with this declaration. I refuse to abort what God assigned because the process became inconvenient. I will stay disciplined when motivation fades, determined when obstacles appear, and connected to the desire that made me begin. I don't need overnight success. I need unwavering obedience. Remember, every dream worth having will eventually ask you a hard question. Do you still want me now that I'm costing you something? How you answer that question often determines whether you experience a breakthrough or become another person telling the story of what could have been. This is Real Talk, where everyone is always learning and living your full experience. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and Facebook at Real Talk for Real Life. That's L.Y.F.E for more inspiration, merchandise, and motivation between episodes. This is Coach C. I'll see you in the next one.